Welcome back to the South African Morning. Now, Police Minister Bheki Cele says police are currently under attack and should not hesitate to defend themselves. He was visiting a family of a KwaZulu-Natal police officer who was shot dead alongside his wife and 2 children. And over the weekend as well, a police officer was stabbed in Khayelitsha, just outside of Cape Town. A total of 22 officers were killed between July and September of last year alone. So for some reaction to this, we're now joined by the South African Police Union spokesperson, Lesiba Thobakgale, joining me this morning. Lesiba, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I wish the circumstances were different, because we're talking about the loss of life here, the loss of life of, authorities who are meant to protect South Africans and those living within the country. But it seems that most of them are losing their lives, at least what the stats are telling us, that 22 officers losing their lives between July and September. What exactly is happening? Is there a loss of respect for that honorable badge that the police officers have?
Thank you for having us. It is indeed a troubling issue. We are troubled as the South African Policing Union to see the high rate of police officers in this country. It even goes further to law enforcement officers, because Tumelo, you would realize that our members at correctional centers, they have been stabbed by offenders, the traffic officers, they get knocked down by vehicles. They're also from part of the security cluster. And to our subs members, we have seen those numbers around December. The numbers went so high, where even during Christmas Day, a police officer from Naledi police station, whilst he was on duty, was targeted, he was shot, his body was thrown in a river. And the very same thing that occurred in the Galetu West, in the Western Cape. And now comes into the one that you just referred to, that happened recently in KwaZulu-Natal, where a police officer and even his family were targeted. So it is clear that it is our view as SAPU that no respect for the rule of law in this country, no respect to police officers whom are our protectors. That is what we are seeing from the society at large, to say that there is this disconnect that is there between the police and also members of the society. Because if those perpetrators who are responsible for this act, as they come from our communities, if as society we bring them to the attention of the authorities, we would not be having high rate of police killings that we see in this country. But it is out of control. You cannot have police officers being murdered in this manner. Even when you compare with the FBI, we are talking about countries that are bigger than South Africa. The report that was released by the FBI around November last year, when we compared the numbers, when you compare the numbers of police officers killed in 1 year, to us, it comes to those who are killed within a quarter. That is a period of 3 months. So definitely, we are like, it's a war zone. There is war that has been waged by criminals against our police officers, and it has to stop.
And Lesiba, if I just come in there and ask you, do you think police officers are targeted, or these are just acts of criminality? When you make your assessment with the different cases in different parts of the country, last year we spoke about the Soweto incident. We're also now speaking of Khayelitsha and KwaZulu-Natal, where not only a police officer lost his life, but his wife and 2 children too fell victim. Do you think police officers are intentionally being targeted here, or it's just acts of criminality generally?
Dumelo, we are definitely sure that police officers are being targeted. Remember, there are grudges that develop or that happen to come with the nature of the job that a police officer is doing. And in most cases, if we could look at it, most of our police officers, they get targeted when they are off duty, even though there are still some incidents where some get targeted when they are on duty. So clearly, we know as SAPU that our police officers, they get targeted, clearly shown by the fact that when they are off duty, you happen to be isolated to Melo. You are there by yourself, or you are there with your friends or with your family members. And we have seen with the KwaZulu-Natal one, whereby it even went further, that revengeful act to say, you know what, we are dealing with this police officer, including his family members. That on its own, we are definitely sure. We do not have a doubt on that. And that has to stop. That is why our call to Melo to say police killings has to be declared treason. by the president. The president spoke about it during the commemoration. The minister is the cabinet minister, the minister of police. We have seen him going to different places. I remember during another killing of 2 police officers in Boksburg last year. He was there. He spoke very strong about it. But we want to see action as some to say, what is it that they do between the president and also the minister? Because they sit in the cabinet. They are the ones who are supposed to give, the president makes the declaration and give effect to the lawmakers to really have police killings declared a treason, so that those who are found guilty of the act, they could really face harsher sentences, so that we could bring an end to police killings. Without that, Tumelo, we'll keep on making it a rhetoric, whereby each time a police officer is being killed, the minister and the national commissioner will go and see the family. Thereafter, what happens? Another one will be killed. It will be something that does not come to an end. We need to put an end to police killings. Police officers are human beings. They are part of the society. They've got families, their brothers, their mothers, their husbands, their wives. So they need to be treated as human beings as well.
Yeah. Just before I let you go, we're speaking of your call for the president to declare killings of police as treason. But this is after the act was already committed. The crime has been committed. It means criminals will face a consequence after the act. What about a more preventative measure, Lesiba? The police minister coming out saying police officers need to defend themselves when under attack. Do you agree with that? And what does that defense then mean to you, should you agree with Police Minister Bheki Cele?
It has always been our view, Tumelo, to say that police officers should not die with the tools of trade, being everything that they are given to defend themselves and also to defend and protect the society at large. That is our view, and we are saying to our members that they should not die whilst they've got firearms in their holsters. They need to use their firearms, they need to use their pepper sprays, they need to use every tool of trade they are given within the ambits of the law. That is our principle as SAPO. Because another issue, it is the issue of state protection. A police officer, when they are faced with these incidents, they think about whether will they be given state protection when they act in, within the ambits of the law. The moment one takes that opportunity to think, criminals are taking an advantage. Within a split of a second, they have acted. What we will have loved to hear from the minister and also him reiterating that when police officers have acted within the ambits of the law, they will be given state protection, of which we have seen with the Krugersdorp 4 incident that happened years back, where state protection was not given to our members, whom at the end of the day, they ended up being exonerated, like the state having abandoned them because we gave them lawyers. So the issue of state protection, it is important. We are saying members should not die with the tools of trade in their holsters. They should do everything within the ambit of the law at all times, but they should not allow to die. They need to protect themselves so they can protect others. We are reiterating our campaign of protect our protectors.
Lesiba, thank you so much for speaking to me this morning. Lesiba Thobakgale is stressing the importance for police officers that they should be protected. They should not die, but should, in the unfortunate event that they are found in a compromised situation and their lives are taken from them senselessly, that the presidency needs to declare that act of criminality as treason.